Hey, what's up, Warriors? Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. I was having a good conversation with a gentleman this morning over a little workout. Great friend of mine, getting ready to start his family. Been a long journey for him and his wife, and just super excited for them and what God has planned for them as parents. We were having some good conversation just about the different value systems that we have, that they have, that may differ from their family members, and so forth, and just how polarizing the world can be, especially whenever you mention these two terms: vaccines, Jesus, right? They're very polarizing things, and we're having great conversation about it. The way that they're going to choose to raise their child, their children, the values are just a little bit different, and that's okay. We all get to choose. We all get to, decide what we value and what we don't. This month is a prime example of that. Some think it's Pride Month. Some it's Life Month. To be honest with you, I don't even know what month it is. It's just, serving and raising kids and trying to raise strong men, and that's what month it is for me. Regardless of what it is, like your values and the foundation, like the plowing, the planting, the seeding, the watering for your family, for the mindset of the family, for the tone of the family, it all depends, and really as a dad, it's up to you. And so I guess what I want to say is that the values that you instill into your family are the values that you instill. Obviously, sitting down, talking to your wife, and saying, hey, what do we want the core values of our family to be? What do we want our kids to grow up really knowing? And those are different for everybody. For my family, number one is to know God and to make God known. I know that that's a CC thing, but I just love that, to know God and to make Him known. Number two is to respect your elders, right? Respect your mom and your dad. Respect your grandparents. Respect those that are in authority. And then number three is that do something that is going to change the world, whether that be chiropractic, or whether that be whatever it is that they want to do, or just not going through the motions. Like, those are some values that we really try to instill into our boys. And here's the thing, is that nobody is going to mess with those values. For instance, like, we don't go anywhere on Christmas. Like, everybody comes to us. That's just a thing that we set as a family. It might upset people. It might disappoint people. But the reality is that everybody's going to be disappointed. You're always going to disappoint somebody. I realize that. It doesn't matter how much that we try to, or I try, as a doctor, as a leader, as a parent, as a husband, that I try to be perfect and I try to be, to please everybody. Somebody's always going to be pissed off. And so at the end of the day, I've got to say, listen, Lord, what will you have for me? What's the best thing for my family and for me? My wife, hey, what is the best thing for our kids, and what's the best for our family? Because I'll tell you, when you get married, it's no longer, all of these different families coming together and saying, hey, what's best for us as a group? I mean, there's value in that, but it's your family. Like, it literally, that is your family. That is your, that's your home. I talked about this in Psalm 23. David says, I prepare a table for you in the midst of your enemies. That's your table. That's you and your wife and your kids. That's not, your in-laws or anybody else. Now, they can have a seat at your table, but at the end of the day, like, that's a table that you have to prepare and you have to protect in the midst of your enemies. So your values, what you believe, and the standards that you set for your family are really going to determine who has a seat at your table. Right now, Pride Month, and Homosexuality, and some families, it's like that has a seat at their table. Like for me and my family, that's a conversation that we'll have, because I think that it's stupid and not good to not have a conversation with your kids about your values and what you believe in. For our family, what does the Bible say? What do we believe as Shriners, as warriors, to believe? What does the Bible say about pride? What does a rainbow mean? Why did God bring that? What does it mean to have life and to live life abundantly? Who gave us life? Those are the conversations that we have to have, and those are the values that we're setting. And so my challenge for you today, or this week, or this month, is to sit down and say, what do we value? For some people, it's like, I want to value family, before everything else. For us, it's God first, then it's family, and then it's whatever it is that, we're trying to chase after. Sometimes we get those mixed up. Sometimes those things become a little bit blurry, but because we're a family unit and everybody in our family understands our values, we can all hold each other accountable. And I will tell you, as parents, your 10-year-old doesn't get to choose, what they necessarily find as a value. Like that is why you're the parent. I think there's a lot of things going around in the world right now. There's a lot of, I hear this, well, let's see what they want to do. Well, my 6-year-old, having a conversation with him this morning about, 1 Peter, casting all of your anxieties onto the Lord, and having that conversation with him. He doesn't quite get it yet. Why? He's not stupid. He's just 6. And, when I say, hey, Hendrix, like, what does it mean to cast your anxieties onto the Lord? And he'll say something that's a good answer, but it's an answer that he knows I want to hear, which is pray more to God. And he doesn't understand what an anxiety is. And so we have to make sure that we set those foundations. We have to make sure that we set those value systems for our family. And then in due time, right, they'll come to maturity, and then they can begin to make their own decisions. Like when my boys are 18 years old, they're out of our house. They can choose to live, hopefully the value systems that we've instilled into them, and they can just carry those on into their family. But they can also get to choose, and they can, begin to run their own families. Christmas time, my boys, they got married, they got 2 or 3 kids. If one of them says, hey, Dad, we're going to start our own tradition, I'm like, hey, man, that's awesome, dude. We'd love to have you. Mom and I are going to have our own thing here, and you're more than welcome to stop by, but I'm not going to be pissed off because, you're not there, because you're a big boy, and you're starting your own family, and you got your own values, and so there's power in that. So, like I said, it's important as a man and as a family to sit down and find out what those core values are for your family, so that way you can have something to live by. You can have a support system and a foundation that's being built there. If you're a man out there and you're just like, you're lost, you've been fish hooked your entire life, you're just, the world is just taking you by the mouth and just leading you wherever, you're just trying to fit in like a chameleon. You need some help, because we don't need any more chameleons in this world. We don't need anybody that's trying to just, hey, just exist, We don't need any more woke dads out there that's just trying to go with the flow and, I guess, be friends with everybody, right? We need men that are willing to kind of put their flag in the ground, and have strong values. But I would also say, not be a prick. Invite other people that maybe don't necessarily have your same values to the table, so we can lead and then we can have some great conversations. But yet, man, we gotta have values. Like, we can't be chameleons. We can't just be, hey, whatever's cool in the world right now, whatever month it is, that's what I'm gonna ride on. No, your values stay your values. Right now that, other countries, Christians are being beheaded because they're sticking to their values. Man, you can learn a lot from that. Christians, individuals, I would say Christians specifically, are like tea bags. You put them in hot water, you never know what flavor you're gonna get. And that's a problem. We have to have values. We have to stand on those values. We have to live by those values, and we have to instill those values into our kids. So if you're a chameleon dad out there that just you're a shapeshifter, kind of like Maui on Moana, if you're just kind of changing depending upon your environment, you need some help. You need some guidance. And so go to warrior40challenge.com, take the 40-day challenge. At the end of those 40 days or 120 days or a year, we're going to help you develop some values and some like strong belief systems that are biblically rooted, that will allow you to be able to lead your family the way that they need to be led and they deserve to be led. So warrior40challenge.com. If you're already a part of the challenge, make sure you go to Warrior 3 Project. Check us out. I got all kinds of cool stuff on there for you. Share this video with a friend. It's one of those months where, one of those times in our world where, like I said, we don't need chameleons. We need men that are strong in their faith, strong with their family, strong with their fitness, they're healthy, so we can be leaders for a very, very confused world. So, love you guys. Lead, live, and love strong today, gentlemen. See you.